Hey everyone, welcome to Matrix Unplugged. My name is Sadgul, and my goal with this show is to introduce you to inspiring people and messages that will help unlock the infinite potential that lies within you. Okay, today's guest is a decade-strong consultant and trainer on leadership, a motivational speaker, social entrepreneur, and a personal coach who is driven by ideals, not idols. As a trainer, Umair Jaliawala assimilates business, religion, philosophy, and psychology in a way that makes participants of his sessions reflect, grow, celebrate, cry, and connect. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this session. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. I'll dive right into my first question.
Let's do.
When we see problems and problems only, it is generally a perception problem.
Yeah.
And you often say that there's opportunity in every problem. What do you mean by that?
I'm glad you picked that one up. That is something that has driven me all this while, that, for what we have complaints about are exactly the things that need somebody's work. It is somebody's job, it is somebody's enterprise, it is somebody's social project. So all the problems around have opportunities built in them, because your mind is seeing a problem there, which means there's a better state that you want this problem to go to, and people around to perhaps enjoy that. And seeing life this way has helped me understand that if my school had a terrible policy, it was an opportunity for me to be an activist. If the kids of Liari didn't have great engagement available, they were isolated, I could do great activities. There was an opportunity, it turned into many projects. I had many young people join me for it. And then in the corporate, when you go to the professional sector, people working, not owning what they're doing, not growing, and having challenges with each other because they've not trained onto these subjects that we train on. These are all my opportunities, and these were actually problems.
You recently said in one of your talks that magic happens outside of your comfort zone. And breaking out of the comfort zone requires a certain level of self-reflection. How important do you think it is to break out of that comfort zone if we want to level up?
So you must have had friends in your schooling, you have people in your family. Are you really honest with them, and do you tell them what you feel about them? What they're doing, how they conducted themselves?
Well, I'm starting...
Let's just pause there, and this is exactly what people around me do to me. Okay, and cap it with, if I'm successful, then feedback is even if it's coming out, it's too feeble, it's too weak, because I have good applause and good thumbs up coming my way. From the simplest social interactions, which are biased, prejudiced, or sensitive, that I don't want to say it, I wonder, how do you plan on creating magic in this world without having an introspective lens on your own life? Putting yourself under the microscope. I receive thousands of comments on the things that I put out. Are they me? Not exactly, but it's a perception about me, about what I'm doing and how it's being received. And then there's a side that I know. And to put the two together is a great way of getting honest feedback.
Self-help gurus and life coaches and social media these days can tend to make us believe that happiness is absence of problems. However, that's not true. I mean, there are all kinds of seasons in life. And it's actually how we deal with our fears, our insecurities, that actually determines how happy we are. What do you think about that?
So first advice, do not read a lot of self-help or do not listen to only the gurus of this genre. And I'm saying this, I'm also classified in this genre. And I'm saying this because I think Pakistani especially, they've read like 50 books, all of them. Whoever starts reading has to read those 50 by the time they die. And so we all think the same. And we talk about the same names, and many of them self-help. What about history? What about sports? What about the rise and fall of empires? What about science? What about technology? And therefore my domain is inspiration, and I think it can come from anywhere. It just doesn't need me telling people, hey, you can. It's also, hey, look what all is around, and that helps people sort of take responsibility and believe that they can. But it's cognitive. It's coming out of thinking. It's seeing what all is there and then coming to it rather than just being pushed into whatever your little imagination would be. So advice that you should expand this, number one. Number two, motivational speakers, yes, paint a very rosy picture of life, and they would make you believe that every instance you can be happy in. What do I have to say on that? It is possible.
So our days here on earth are numbered, and we all get 1,140 minutes every day. And successful people clearly understand that creating more time and freedom is all about setting priorities. How do you frame optimum time management, and whether there are any tools, tactics, or mechanisms that one can design to get the best out of 24 hours?
Oh, there are plenty, and I'm one of the biggest violators of that. My mind has been buzzing with ideas, and I started very young and learned on the job. So it was a lot of extra time as well. And then my own interest of making things happen, and I stay that as a person. I'm saved because I have a calendar, and that calendar is, I was training and I lost my cousin, and I was training, and it was 10 in the morning, and I got the news. That calendar has saved me, honestly. Where it has been tough, it has been, I'm sitting here, I have to report on wherever the training is tomorrow. It could be anywhere in this country, it could be outside. I might need to take a flight, I might need to take a bus. So that part is covered. So my first advice on this question would be, yes, your money will come back, your hair will come back, probably your kidneys will come back, we'll regrow everything. Nothing will bring that second back. And so you owe it. And it doesn't mean to laugh it off, your previous question, to just have your hands up like this in that second, but to really, really feel fulfilled that you did what you had to, you were yourself, and you lived it in the best possible way. I believe in that. Pick up your must, pick up your shoulds, and pick up your coulds. I'll give an easy tool here, that just put down jo kuch karna hai, whatever you want to do, and use this simple tool. What is the must do? What you have to do? What is a should do? If you do it, it's good. And what is a could do, that if you had all the time in this world, you could have gone for that as well?
Expectations. Is it an opportunity for us to own up to our laziness and our fears and insecurities? How does this apply to individuals?
It's a two-edged sword, expectations. Having done it for 12 years, now when I walk into a hall, I'm expected to do a lot of things. And I may not be in the mood. I might have something wondering me, taking my mind there, or I might just have had a bad day. But there is expectation. And so yes, it helps me because I have to live up to that expectation. Just like you expect performance from a great batsman, so that batsman can turn around and say, okay, yes, your expectations get me going and help me. But for the superstars, the expectations can be killers too. And I learned this very early because I did a program called Dastan-e-Ishq, and there was just everything that I believed in and that I'd experienced and I wanted to present. I had put it into a musical sequence, and it was a success. I did good 150 Dastans. But all the people who attended that, they would come back to me after every other session and say, this was good, but Dastan was. And I think an artist faces that when you have a bestseller and you need to write another one. It can be a killer. How I've learned to cope with it is, how it can help you is that you should, as a batsman, for example, in cricket, a great batsman would have great number of runs, would have a fantastic average, and would have a lovely strike rate. But they will have ducks, and they will have golden ducks. To know that it's a sport, my work is a sport, right? I have to connect with that psychology. Sometimes they could just reject me on the first line I say. So there's a lot at stake there. So I've come to this comfort now because you do end up bombing work. You do end up doing things that don't match expectations. Lastly, in personal life, expectations, like I got married and, very late, 31, and I realized that, there are expectations, and it's not just my version of how I want that relationship to be. And in that, I've learned that barriers break when people talk. If you were expecting something from me and not telling me, I can keep going on for the next 10 minutes completely off. But let's have that chat. Needs a bit of vulnerability. That is difficult to create.
So there's never a perfect time to start anything. And I personally believe like everything is right now. What would you say to the people who've been planning for so long, just waiting for that perfect moment to start something that they've always wanted to do?
Yeah, it's, I would tell them to love themselves a little more and to be gentle. Being a perfectionist is, part of it is also not liking yourself and what you produce, and wanting to be magical and to be right and to be great at all times denies you of being human. And human endeavor is that. So whatever little pieces you have, get going with it. आज तो पूरी दुनिया MVP कहती है, minimum viable product. So whatever your idea is, turn it into a small thing that you can launch, that you can ship, that you can put out. And now think, what's the worst that would happen? It would not sell. It would not receive any traction. You'd probably get a nasty email to that or a nasty comment to that. So is the effort waste? No, it's not. Because until this time, it was only in your mind. Now by putting it out, you've also gotten some votes, some idea, and some testing. And give yourself that and do a whole lot of it and do it every day.
You found your calling at such a young age. I think you were 17 at that time. But today, there are millions of millennials out there who feel lost. They're craving a belonging and connection. What would you say to someone who hasn't found their passion yet, regardless of how old they are or what stage of life they're in?
Yeah, that you don't need to find it outside. You need to find it inside. It's your passion, so it can't be outside. It can't come from somebody else's advice. It has to come from your deepest realization. And I'll give you a cue for it. How I've understood this is because passion is considered good, positive, he's passionate. Wikipedia is the passion root word is pain. Something pains you, and so you're passionate about that cause. The ideas that you spoke about, what you're working on as a think tank, and you're working on these things because there's some pain there. There's a reason why certain kind of people become therapists, because they've gone through it. They can empathize what it would mean, all right? If you look at it spiritually, then Allah had to get a lot done for our lives to unfold, for this world to move forward. And He probably equipped all of us with some talents and with some pains as well. Or if not by default, then our own childhood got us to experience that, and our code was written there. Honor it. And you know, the beautiful part is that the backhand could be this drive, this pain, but front end kuch bhi ho sakta hai.
I love this quote by Marcus Aurelius. It says that we love ourselves more than others, but we care about their opinion more than our own. Now, we live in a society which जहाँ लोग क्या कहेंगे syndrome है बहुत ज़्यादा के. So what would you say to the people who are trapped by वो क्या कहेगा या वो क्या कहेगी? How can they break that trap and start taking action?
Yeah, learn from the class 4 story in the English book. A father and a son taking a donkey, and one of them sits, and so people look around and they say, all right, child is sitting and the older father is, look at what young people are now these days. And then they swap, so the father is sitting and the child is sort of walking ahead, and people look around and they say, what kind of parents are they? We would never do that. So they both sit on the donkey. So now people look and say, couldn't even think about the poor animal. So they both get off the donkey. And now people say, what stupid people. So we've been told these stories, right? We are grown-ups now. I would like for you to understand that everything that you hear from anyone is their opinion. It's not a fact. It might be coming from a fact, but you can get down to the fact because it's about you. How do I do that? So I put out a video, and my intention is, I know my intention, right? मैंने ये बात क्यों की है, whatever I put it out from. And I receive a host of comments and doubting my intent and questioning and saying things. Now I, as Umair, know who I am. I know what I meant by this. I take their feedback and I ask myself this: how could have I communicated it in a better way? I don't take their word, ये अपनी मशहूरी के लिए कर रहा है. He's doing it for his own fame, because I know what the truth is. All right? So practice the same with people around. And don't agree, don't disagree. Just take it with you. Between the yes and no, there could be the third alternative. And bring it back. And then I know for a fact that if you don't mess up that occasion, if you don't get into the emotional traps, if you just process and bring it back, you yourself will go back better, because everybody knows at the end of the day, okay, I don't have all the answers, and there are parts of what others are saying that might be right. That is what leads to the insecurity and builds us to creating bigger defenses. So drop the defenses and say, fine, people have processed, they're coming from somewhere. Find out where they're coming from, and then you're in a better place to do a better evaluation of what you've got to change.
Okay, before I ask my last question, where can people connect with you online?
Oh, my page, my Facebook page, Umair Jaliawala. You can find me on Instagram. I have a good YouTube channel. I'm trying to get a lot of people there now because and I'm also trying for every channel to have its own charm. So yes, you can reach out on all the social channels that you use, and my team does get back. So very accessible that way. But it will be good if you join me on the channels that you're not on, because I'm trying for content to be separated based on the mood of the channel now. And I have my own website, it's jaliawala.com, so that has quite a lot as well.
Okay, what is a legacy that you want to be remembered by?
I've never been scared of death. Every time I fly and there's a lot of turbulence, it's good there is azan happening. I love the timing of things. Let's just wait it out. I think that's the answer. It's wonderful. I was just reflecting. When you're born, they do the azan on our side of the world. And that's the start. And they say namaz-e-janaza doesn't have the azan. Because the azan was done when you were born. So your life is actually the time between. And that's a wrap up. And what does the azan say? It says, God is great. Human beings aspire to be great. Call each other great, 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 great. And whatever your concept of God is, if He is sum total of everything that is around this multiverse, all of us, our imaginations, the idea of it, then sure, it's great. And to be a witness to that, to accept that, to bow down to that, to have done it all your life, that you were not what your mind told you, just that, but you were part of a larger scheme, a scheme far bigger than your own imagination and the little worries that you were born with. And to believe in great people, great advice being sent down in some form. Every culture has amazing people. I don't know how many of them qualify to be prophets. It's not that one man, it's the idea, it's the message. To be supreme in your conduct throughout this life. To be a war strategist, to be an educator, to be a teacher, to be a husband, to be, and yet be exemplary in all of that, that people can't stop writing about every move of yours, to be a witness to that. I think for human beings to be born in that light and to just do anything, to say anything that would make the other person not say congratulations, well done, beautiful, awesome, but subhanallah. That this was so good, I wonder how good that is. She could become a reference here. It's powerful. I'd like a legacy like that. So
wow, I love that. Guys, I'm completely shook, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. And until next time, goodbye.